Howdy, fellows. So we saw this Warhammer video talking about the state of Warhammer. My name's John.
I'm Tyler.
Yeah, I played Warhammer for about the past 2 years. I played Blood Angels and Imperial Knights. Tyler?
I've played for maybe a year. I started in 9th edition. I got orcs, but I'm on the Gene Stealer kick right now. I've shelved my orcs just because I don't know. I got salty on Mordaka. Like when they were like, oh, check this out, sustain hits 2, assault, and then we had that for what, a month, and just because a couple people got upset, Mordaka's gone. I know it's too soon to start ranting already, but like,
no, go ahead, go rant.
Yeah, like I just feel like if you're gonna give me something broken, GW, let it be broken and let it be broken for a very reasonable amount of time. The emergency of it was not necessary. I think that it keeps it spicy, and Mordaka was a spice that a lot of people could like buy into. We like broken. We like toxic a little bit. That's why we play Warhammer.
Yeah.
You know? What's your opinion, John?
Actually, that's something I got written down here. I got some notes, but one of the things I got written, nerfs versus buffs. I kind of agree with you there, because like, yeah, as soon as it got added, we have some local tournaments, and it got banned from our local tournaments immediately. Like, I don't think we even got to play Tyler didn't get to play a single tournament with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nerfs versus buffs, it does seem like with 10th, they're trying to, because there's this video Tyler sent me from like some other dudes that play Warhammer, and like one of the gripes they had was like, it seems like things are becoming more standardized, that basically you have competitive and you have casual, but it seems like the competitive side of it has a really big influence on how the casual side of it gets affected, and that you don't really see it the other way around. And yeah, it's like stuff like Mordaka, it gets nerfed into the ground almost immediately just so everything can become a level playing field again, which is like, I get it for keeping things fair, but also it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like you should have the opportunity to where you can make it unfair if you're playing at a higher level.
And I feel like maybe it does do GW good. It's like, it's almost like a fashion line. Okay, so it's the Summer of Orcs. Mordaka, get people invested into it, you know? Like, yeah, have that little bit of toxic, but it's going to be for a season. It's going to be for a time. That's how you get people to move product, because it's the hit, it's what's in, it's what is needed. Okay, so some people get a feelings hurt, or you know, this or that, but it keeps the vibrancy alive. Like Mordaka, for me at least, was like an opportunity for orcs to take the spotlight away from the beakies, you know, or away from the ultramarines or all these people. It doesn't shelve them, but I think it gives a spotlight for a small season. It was Orc Boy Summer for me, and it was ripped away.
Yeah. No, like, I think my example of it is like, you do kind of get that, like, this is the new model, or this is the new codex, and that they kind of buff it into the stratosphere and then nerf it almost immediately. And it's like, as soon as all the pre-orders get shipped, it seems like, you know, that's when they go and kind of fix it. But it's like, I don't know, like, if I could choose a direction for it to go, one of the units, it's a newer unit that's come out, for example, for Space Marines, is like the Ballistus Dread. It's like very generic. I mean, it really does clean house though, because I think it's like 140 points right now, but it's got las cannons, crack missiles. It punches way above its weight class every single time for 140 points. But I mean, it's basically just a big gun. And it's like, there's not really a whole lot of flavor to it. There's not really a whole lot of uniqueness to it. But another unit it's more recent for Space Marines, like Blade Guard vets. I'm a huge fan of Blade Guard vets. There's a lot of character to them. It adds melee options for Marines, which yes, I know they have melee options. They're Space Marines, GW's favorite, but it gives them more melee options, and I feel like it's a lot more thematic for that faction than just a dreadnought with big guns, and that's basically it, you know. And so I don't know. I'd like to see more stuff like that, where it's more thematic stuff, or like stuff to where it's like, if you're going to do the new model thing, if the new model is going to be really popular and really powerful for like a couple months, and that's going to be the meta, at least make it something to where it's like, I don't know, big and impressive and flashy instead of some more generic. So
when you were talking about your new codex for Blood Angels,
not happy,
and you were like,
I was so pissed.
You were like, oh, the new models are coming out, and it was like the same unit, but without the specialness. But
worse.
It was like they released a new cereal and they forgot the little marshmallow pieces, and all what made your Blood Marines, their wings and all that stuff, just ripped away from you.
I'm still pissed about that, because then they came out with the Space Wolves Codex. So, you know, because you see the Dark Angels Codex and you say, oh, maybe they just like Dark Angels, and then the Blood Angels Codex comes out and it's like, oh, maybe they just lost the special sauce. And then the Space Wolves stuff came out, and now I was pissed again. So, and now the Black Templar stuff is coming out, and I'm even more pissed. And it's just painful, because, well, for example, Death Company, yeah, they did that hardcore, where Death Company used to be able to equip 10 Power Fists, 10 Hand Flamers, which I know it's broken, but that was fun. And they just kept buffing the points into the stratosphere until finally it was like 500 points for like Lamarties and 10 man of Death Company. It was like, okay, I mean, it's overpowered and it costs a lot of points, but at least it's, you know, something unique. And then they got rid of all the weapon options to where it's like you can have 4 guys with like 4 different weapons for Death Company. And they've tried to adjust that. Like, they've tried reducing the point cost for Death Company, and they keep doing it, and it just does not work, because they're not fun. I'm gonna say it, they're not fun anymore. The Death Company Dreadnought costs the same as a Brutalis Dreadnought right now, and nobody fields it. So I don't know, that should kind of tell you something, that a version of the Brutalis Dreadnought that has 6-up invulns, or not 6-up invuln, 6-up feel no pains, that costs the exact same and has a 6-up feel no pain, that no one's fielding that, like, that should probably tell you something about what you're doing as far as I don't know, designing units for their data sheets. Because I mean the old Death Company Dreadnought had a thing where if you fought him, he got to fight you again. And well, and dude, the old Death Company Dreadnought just looked cooler as well. Like, I have them here. I have the new Death Company Dreadnought, which is a Brutalis with Blood Angel upgrade sprues. There is no Death Company Dreadnought. Like, it exists in the Codex, but as of right now, there is no Death Company Dreadnought. It does not have its own unique sprue, and that was something.
I feel like, in my opinion, I don't really, do Space Marines. That's not my jam.
Yeah.
But what I feel is like, there's so many different Space Marine things. It doesn't really make sense to like reduce your catalog.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna be adding sprues, don't sell me the same thing with like 1 or 2 little pieces and then be like, oh, it's a whole brand new thing. Just sell me the brand, like the little extra gizmos, because.
And then honestly, I saw Grimnar. I saw Logan Grimnar. So we got Sanguinary Guard, Blood Angels with no wings, but Logan Grimnar, the Space Wolf, gets 2 wolves on his model. So I'm a little upset about that. They took away our wings and then gave the Space Wolves more wolves, and I'm still upset about that. I'm still. Sorry, you were saying.
I feel like that there should be a facet, like if you're a fanatic Space Wolf, or if you're a fanatic this or that or this, sell me the extra little pieces on the side. But don't don't scam me into getting them.
Well,
Don't
that's
don't
the
sell me an
thing.
old kit with like 1 or 2 little pieces. Just be like, hey, you know that piece that you have that is a generic piece? If you want it to be dedicated to this type of unit, we have the sprue for you. You know? And then
Well,
I can feel like it's a Barbie. Like I'm dressing this shit up in a new way, in a different, add-on and takeoff and this. Maybe it doesn't sell your old units, but I tell you this, if you keep up with new customizations, people will buy it.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there, but it's like, I think that is what they're doing with Space Marines because
But they're also pushing the old models underneath it. It's like they're throwing a blanket and not cleaning their room. They're just like, they're throwing a pretty little like label over something that's already existed with 1 extra sprue. That doesn't tell me it's new. That's like a...
Well, and it's...
Yeah.
I think it's
Misdirection.
a difference in design philosophy is, I think them taking away a lot of the uniqueness is that's on purpose, is it's supposed to be like, oh, you can fill it up with stuff. And it's like, I understand, like, oh, like, yes, it is, you're supposed to kit bash, you're supposed to customize, but it's like there should be, I feel like there should be basic building blocks to like, as like, just something as like a starting point, and that's the thing is it seems like, well, and that's the thing is I'm not a Space Wolves player, I'm not, there's other Space Marine factions I just don't play, but at least with Blood Angels, that was my main gripe, is that they kind of held true to that philosophy of like, oh, well, this is a Blood Angels kit, and you can make it a Blood Angel, and it's, well, shouldn't it be a Blood Angel that you can make into a different version of a Blood Angel? I don't know. I get it, but it's not my personal preference. So
I think we beat that dead horse.
we did beat that horse. That horse has been beat. Anyway, this was supposed to be about terrain. We got sidetracked.
Yeah.
I love complaining about how they messed up my Blood Angels. I got some more notes here. So the video that we were responding to and got sidetracked is it was in regards to how the game is played and how terrain works, and how that's been affected by tournament play, and how tournament play has started to, it seems like tournament play is starting to take precedent over casual play. Well, at least what I'm seeing is that G-dubs, they're being a lot more cut and dry with their rules, which on one hand is cool because there's a lot less arguments, you can play the game quicker because it's like, oh, okay, it says so right there, like there's no room for interpretation, which on one hand, it's like when you first get into the game, I feel like that's necessary because you don't want to be spending half your time just arguing rules, when it's still like, you're only on round 1 or 2. But the drawback of that is that you don't have those spaces to sort of fill in things, or just in the same way that it's like the models don't have enough stuff and you have to customize them, and it feels like the rules, whereas as far as the rules, it's almost like there's too much that's handed to you, and there's no room for interpretation. There's no room for any customization with the rules. Well, in regards to terrain, yeah, they were talking about like the squares and how the objective markers are these big old circles and the terrain's these big old squares, and basically that like the terrain doesn't really matter because of how tournament boards are set up. Like you kind of don't really need the terrain because if you have your little squares, I mean, they work the same whether that terrain's there or not. I think the only real deciding factor is line of sight, which line of sight, I hate line of sight, having to figure that out honestly, because it's such a, I don't know. I feel like that's one of the questions I ask my opponent the most when playing a game is like, do I have line of sight?
I feel like the saltiest moments I've ever had in games are line of sight and benefit of cover.
Dude, I hate that for benefit of cover.
Because
everything
those
has
two
benefit
things-
of cover now.
Those
Everything.
two things, it's like It's like I set up a model over here, and I'm like, oh, look at that, I'm okay. And it's like, oh, the pivot of the back end of this has the line of sight, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, rage,
It's like
rage.
it's
You
like
know,
my one guy
but
has
yeah,
his pinky is touching this little foam square,
Yeah.
so I now have benefit of cover for all those attacks.
yeah, and I think that's the salty response to line of sight is benefit of cover. It's like
Yeah.
the person's like, oh, I got you, I can shoot you, and then your defender's like all salted out, and they're like, you know what, benefit of cover then, you know.
Benefit of cover.
And then the only way you could cap off their benefit of cover is like ignores cover. Like that's
Yeah.
like the creme de la creme of what it goes to. But I feel like in both aspects of Warhammer, when it comes to the shooting and the terrain, it's like there's elements missing. It's like benefit of cover because it's everything has it. It loses its sting. It loses its zest.
Well, and something I've thought about, I'm pretty sure they had this in Ninth, but there was a different type of terrain where basically there's this idea of cover and concealment, where basically concealment means I can't see you, but I can shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
Cover means I might be able to see you, I might not, but I can't shoot you because you're behind something big enough that it gets in the way of me shooting you.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that kind of stuff comes out of narrative play.
yeah,
Because that would push a story along. But it's like you were saying, but since everything is pushing towards tournament play, it's like all these fun little different factors of concealment, benefit of cover, being in a crater. Like a crater doesn't even matter anymore. Like
yeah.
Like,
Well, that's
those things are all gone because it's all tournament focused.
well, you can't really have a crater because they don't really. I mean, I guess you could, but you'd have to fit it within one of those little tournament squares.
Mm-hmm.
But like they used to have this, I forget what the terrain type was called, but basically instead of a, -1 to AP, instead it was a -1 to hit, and like that could represent concealment versus cover. Like benefit of cover, you have to be within cover. Concealment, you just have to be obscured somehow.
And speaking about layers, like having a 3-story high building,
It doesn't really matter.
it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Well, because it's like, I mean, unless it's within your deployment, most infantry units can't really. I mean, most infantry units have like between like 4 to 7 inches of movement. We'll say like an average of 6, because I feel like that's what most of them have is like 6, unless they're fly. But
Yeah.
most of them have like a 6. Like most standard infantry have a 6-inch movement. I mean, that's enough movement to basically just move your guys up 1 story, and that's all your movement for the entire movement phase is
Yeah.
you moved up 1 story.
And then even if you do get up to that 3rd story, it feels like Saving Private Ryan where they have in the knife fight. It's just a 1v1 up there.
Yeah.
It's awful
Oh,
because
right.
you're like, and that idea of just one man on one man, like and the things that people put up there, they're always riflemen. They're always like an agent, a sniper, or they're always like.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I get it, but it's annoying because you when
can't
you
really
charge
chase
in,
them.
yeah, you can't really.
You can't really get them
hit as
unless
crazy
you
as
shoot them. And
And
it's
then,
like,
yeah.
if you're going to shoot them anyway, like, I don't know. It's well, that's the thing is like, I think you should get certain bonuses for basically being on the 2nd story or 3rd story. Like maybe you get a +1 to hit or something. I don't know.
Or give
Which-
that demolish effect. Like, okay, 3rd story, can we collapse it? That would be kind of fun.
Well, that'd be a fun one, but it wouldn't really work for tournament play
That's
because
why
it's
not
too. I don't want to say swingy. It's not swingy, but like it's because that's the thing with tournaments is everything has to be. Because 40K is a game of chance, but everything has to be like standardized
Mm-hmm.
to where it's all like everyone has access to the same rules, the same whatever.
And I think that's the beef that I have with Crusade right now in the narrative play, is they've made narrative play very complex without it being rewarding.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like tournament play, it's rewarding because you can go like, you can look at a record system and be like, ooh, I went 3-0 today,
Yeah.
But in a narrative play, it's like, okay, I beat this, I go to a table, the table tells me that I did this, and if it was on a Tuesday, then this means this, that means I get an article of that, a ritual of this, or that, and it's like, no, dude, like, people want crazy moments. I want to blow up the 3rd-story building.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have weapons that can like change a storyline. And if I lose a unit, I want the wounded unit or the bad unit to really feel like in the next battle they are, struggling with this loss from the previous. And I've played a couple narratives, and I don't feel that way. I don't feel that there's enough creativity in narrative because of so much effort going into tournament.
Because that was the thing, is when I played narrative, I'm just all like, I was kind of looking for like these cinematic moments. I don't know, I couldn't find any. Well, it became like a thing where it's like one person who it's like, oh, we'll build a fluffy list, and it's all like, just build a list that's not supposed to be the meta, but it's like, it's gonna happen. And it's like, as soon as one person builds the meta list, it's like, you either just start getting dunked on in that crusade and it just becomes a downward spiral, or you build a meta list as well, and then it's like, well, crap, I wanted to use like, I don't know, like a lore accurate list, or I wanted to tell a narrative, and it's like, you can't really do that, because it's like, well, if one person just has the better army, it's like, well, I'm just sorry.
Yeah. Narrative feels like it feels like a second date. Like, you're like, this girl likes me, but I don't know if she's into me, And that's how the lists are built. You're like, is this competitive? Or is this
this is kind of
fun?
I think.
You're in between
sure
this puzzle. You're like, I mean, it could be a good time, but that's why most people...
I think I'm having fun. Are they having fun?
That's why most people never finish a crusade. They drop out 3 to 4 games in.
I think they're having fun. They don't look sad, but they don't exactly look happy either.
And you're like, okay, so maybe it didn't go well this time, but when they get 1,000 points, they'll have fun. And then they don't even show up for the 1,000.
They don't show up. They ghost you. They ghost you at 5.
They ghost you, and you're like, where'd that little Tau go? That little blue-faced Tau.
Little blue face. Well, no, and that was the thing that, I won't name names, but like the last crusade we did is we started off with boarding actions, which was fun.
Oh, it was good.
That was so much. I'd never played a boarding actions before. I loved it. And my face might not show it, but inside I'm jumping with joy. It was actually a lot of fun.
And can I say why I think boarding action was
Go
fun? Because
ahead.
I enjoyed it. No, why?
Go ahead.
The area, the scene was thematic.
Well, and I think it's
I felt
also
good.
You like horde armies. You
Yeah.
love your. I feel like some very infantry focus like that was like no, and it was so funny too. You were so like boarding action's gonna suck, which like you do that with everything. Honestly, I think it's mostly game systems. Like every like new game system, you're like I don't know. It kind of sounds like I don't know, maybe
Very hesitant.
it's gonna be booty cheeks. I'm gonna hate it. Like I don't like it. And then as soon as you try it, you're all like, oh,
Love
this is
it.
like the most fun thing ever. And
Gotta
it's
buy the
all
book.
like, I don't know. He did it with the army he's playing now is Gene Stealers, which is one of his favorites.
Yeah.
And I remember I was playing a game with him once, and he's like, dude, these Gene Stealers, I don't like them. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't like them? And it's like, well, I just don't think they're good. I'm like, what do you mean you don't think? How many games do you play? He's like, 3. And I'm like, you played 3 games with a brand new army, and you've already like figured them out. Basically, it's like play 5 games. Tell me how you feel, and now he just plays them all the time. And I'm like, how dare you?
And it was during that time when the Gene Stealers were going through that like, you rolled to get units back kind of thing before you get those points system.
I hated that.
And-
no, because what it was
killer when you wouldn't get a unit back. It hurt because you're like, oh, here it comes.
well, it's guaranteed, but there's a limit, because it used to be like, okay, well, I can't get that unit back, but it used to be, because then it was like, oh, you can only do it once per unit. But before that, you could just keep doing it.
Just bring them.
You could just like, I hated that. Because every army that did that. You had Guard, you had Gene Stealers, you didn't have Nids. You could have had Nids, but you didn't. But because you do that with Imperial Guard, and it was like,
the reinforcement for 1 CP.
it. Because it was, you'd go to a 2,000 point game, and it was like fighting a 3,000 point list. Because it's like you'd kill them and they just keep coming back, and I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to play against Guard. And I feel like they balanced it pretty well to where it's like, yes, you
Yeah.
can bring them back, but it's like a point cost thing, so there's an upper limit on
I
it.
think it was early 10th edition, like early RTT, maybe it was 9th edition. I ran a pure infantry guard list of like 360 dudes, where it was like 60 Cadians or 80 Cadians, and the rest were Kriegsmen, and it was just like, oh, you
You
knocked a
just
unit
couldn't
of
kill
20.
them.
Here's 1 CP. That's all
You just
20
couldn't
came
kill
back. It just, oh, it was amazing, dude.
And then if they got an objective, that was their
That was
objective
ours.
now.
You just outbodied you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You've lost that objective. You're never getting it back.
Just can you
Ever,
kill fast
ever.
enough? You know.
No, you can't. You couldn't. Not back then. Now you kind of can't. You have to be smart about it. You can just.
Yeah, but that's my beef with terrain, and I think boarding action is
That
actually.
wasn't about terrain at all. That was a tangent. You went on a tangent about guard.
But I think that's my beef about terrain right now in 10th edition, because it's so tournament focused. The Crusades are suffering. I think that if, like boarding
I
action,
think everything's kind of suffering because
Yeah.
it's.
let me finish that idea real quick.
Go ahead.
So the reason I think terrain is suffering in Crusade is because the Crusade writers are thinking that we want to see cool things we can do with our units. You got that wrong. We want to see cool things that we can do to the map with what we have. I want
Yeah.
a tank to shoot out a wall. I want a tank to blow up a building. You know, I want to drop aerial bombs. I don't care if I could surgically deep strike 6 inches. And this is coming from people that love the hobby. Like, don't get us wrong.
I think it's
We
fine.
criticize because we care.
We care. We care so much.
The rebranding got me a little bit worried. How about you?
The rebranding?
Yeah,
Oh, the new logo?
the new
You're talking
logo
about?
got me a little worried.
Nah, that's just the branding thing. That's just marketing.
Like, I feel like my orcs are gonna get put in suit and ties pretty soon. Like, instead of them going wild, they're like, the corporate meeting went well.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit mean. Maybe there's some marketing people who they had like 20 ideas and like all the other ones were like robots and dinosaurs and like flames, and they had their 20th idea and it was that boring ass logo, and the execs went, we want that one.
Yeah. There's some creative stuff going on, but there's also some kind of dicey, weird things going on. Like, I looked at the new release of the League of Votan characters.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, oh, he got eaten by a Tyranid, and then he killed it from the inside out.
Oh, that's kind of
I'm
fun.
like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of narrative play, kind of different. Does that mean that guy can only fight against Tyranids? Or like, you know, like...
I don't think
is
that's
it-
what it means. I think it's just a
Yeah.
bit of fluff.
And I was one of the suckers
model.
that got into the agents of the Imperium. You know? Like, I was like, I'm going to make this work.
You didn't make that
I didn't
work
make it
yet.
work. And you know what's the biggest issue?
I
It's specific.
I killed them so many times.
I shelved them.
I almost tabled. There was at least 2 or 3 games where I'd almost table him with my Blood Angels, and there was at least one game where the only reason I didn't table him is because he had a Vindicare Assassin that was lone op in the back of the map, and I'm just like, listen, I have the things to kill you, but the game will end before I can walk over there and defeat your lone op.
Yeah, but
So-
but that's what I'm kind of saying is I'm kind of worried that G-dubs might move in that direction where it's like character specific against other factions, because it's rampant in agents. I mean, all their detachments are like, this is demon focused, this is Xenos focused, this
Well,
is
that's the thing,
heretic focused or something.
I mean, in a casual game, that's kind of... I mean, how do you explain that to your opponent? That it's like, hey, I'm picking my detachment to specifically counter you. You know, it's like...
Yeah, take
Like-
that to a tournament, you know?
Well, and that's the thing with tournaments. You can't just change willy-nilly like that. So
Mhm.
it's all like, well, I hope most of the people I'm fighting are playing Xenos, you know?
Yeah, really boxed in on that one.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too, is like, the Imperium has a lot of armies.
Mm-hmm.
They have Space Marines and all the different Space Marine factions. They have the Imperial Guard. They have the Adeptus Mechanicus. They have Imperial Knights. They have Agents of the Imperium. So it's like, that's like 5 different factions within one faction. And then they also have, within Space Marines, there's all the different chapters. And so that's like a bunch of others. And it's, you know, that's kind of the thing too, is like you want more variety, but it's like, the Imperium and mainly Space Marines, that's what sells. So it's like that's what G-Dubs is going to focus on. Like, they want to make money. Big surprise, I know, but that's what makes the money, so that's what they're going to focus on. And it's sort of...
I like what they did with Gene Stealers, where they were like, oh, you can add, like, for the final day of detachment, like, oh, you can add NIDS. Or you have the Brood Brothers where you can add Guard.
Yeah.
It's like, I like that flavor. Push that with other factions.
Well, I think they could do that, but it's like, it's sort of, you could have that where it's, I mean, there's already factions that do it. Like, you have the Free Blade thing where Armigers can ally with Space Marines or with Imperial Guard, and, you know, the bigger knights can too. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that it's all like, it would be fun if you could, like, make some really wacky lists, but it also, it goes back to the tournament thing where if you could make some wacky lists, someone would find a way to basically make a super meta list where it's like, oh, well, that's why we can't do it anymore. Like, you'd have 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, some Tau railguns.
Oh, that would be so cool.
It'd be fun.
I think they should open up that door of Tau being able to be like, hey, well, they wanted the greater good, and now we have League of Votann and Tau together. Like, that would be badass.
I think it would be fun. Well, and that's the thing too, is something they could do, but again, this is easier said than done. They could have certain things that are casual only, where it's like, hey, we realize this is super fun, you're not allowed to bring this to a tournament. And then things that are competitive only, you know? Because, I mean, you know, I think it'd be fun if there was, like, maybe some stratagems. Like, I've just been recently getting into Knights, but there's, like, 2 stratagem ideas that I've had. Like, one of them's, like, it's called Punt. But basically, if you have a big knight, and there's just a bunch of infantry, or there's like a really small vehicle next to it, you can just roll to basically shove them out of engagement range of you during your movement phase. And that basically that happens at the end of your movement. So, like, you don't get your movement from doing it, so you still suffer that penalty, but now you don't get your penalty you don't get big guns never tire, you can use your blast weapons, like, because it does kind of suck to get stuck in melee with an infantry unit, and it's like, well, I guess I'm here now.
I like that. I like that idea. I think that's very thematic.
Yeah.
And one cool thing I think that G-Dub does, and we were able to kind of like trace it, is their White Dwarf. When they want to try out something, they tried in the White Dwarf. Like, those Challenger cards, most of them came out of an episode of a White Dwarf.
I like the Challenger cards.
Mm-hmm.
It is because that was a thing where you'd be losing in points, and, like, you might be up in models, but you'd be losing in points, and, like, your opponent would just draw some really good cards, and you're like, well, that's game. But it does... You know, it makes it to where if you don't want to play the objective, it gives you, like, a nice little buff to where you get to do something fun. And if you are playing the objective, it gives you a chance to sort of take it back and not, you know, have your opponent run away with the game.
Yeah. And I know aircrafts are taking a real dump, but, like, just as you were saying that, like, if you were to punch someone with your knights, like, it'd be cool if your airplane goes down and you can hit a unit as
like
you go down. Yeah, like...
That would be fun.
Really awesome to do, but put it in a White Dwarf. Put it in a narrative. But shelving your aircrafts you're wasting. You could push so much aircraft stuff.
Well, yeah, I feel like that would be fun because a lot of the aircraft, like, yeah, they're not very. I don't know. The design philosophy for G-Dub seems to be that if something moves faster, it needs to be weaker or cost more points.
Yeah.
You know? And they did that with Death Company, where they just kept upping the points into the stratosphere, where they're like, we can't have something strong and move fast.
Yeah.
Um,
I like the fact that airplanes don't have OC. You know, I
That's
think that's
only-
pretty cool.
you put them in hover, and then they have OC. No, I think they still have OC0.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with their OC taking a nosedive.
I like the idea of make them lethal, make them aggressive,
But it's
but
like,
then they can't hold nothing. I like that.
yeah, but that's kind of fun because it's like, it is fun to just fly and like drop bombs or like shoot stuff, or
Yeah.
that's kind of fun.
If you have deadly demise on vehicles that are, in combat or within a certain zone, why can't I have a deadly demising crashing airplane or helicopters or da 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 da? Like that's sick.
Yeah.
One thing that I missed that was in last edition, and it was for Guard, is you guys had G-Dubs had the mining vehicle that would come up under the ground. And
They got rid of that? Is that Legends now?
now it's a legend, yeah.
I don't like Legends. I get the concept of it, is it's like, well, you can't play it in tournaments, but the rules are still there. But that's the thing, is like, you can't find the rules on like the official app. You gotta go to a third party if you want the Legends rules. And I kind of wish maybe that, because they're like, oh, well, you just can't play it for tournament play, but we still support it. It's like, well, I kind of wish that maybe if something stays in Legends for, let's say, like a year, maybe more, is that, maybe release the rules for free, or maybe have a codex that is just all the stuff that was Legends, that was sent to Legends. Like, just have a massive codex, and it's like, hey, $60, you get every Legends unit, like, and you get all of them unlocked.
That's not bad.
Because it's like, I'd pay for a new codex if it was just all the stuff I'm not allowed to play in tournaments.
It's like if you're playing Madden and you have the All-Star team.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be sick.
But that's the thing, is like, they say that it's no longer tournament supported, but then you can't find it on the official app. You have to go to third party, and then, you go to third party, and then GW's worried about piracy, and it's like, oh, well, we don't want you going to these third party sites and pirating those rules. And it's like, well, it's rules for stuff you guys don't support anymore. I can't support I can't get it officially, so I'm going to have to get it unofficially because you guys don't carry it anymore.
If I was a coordinator, I would have legendary tournaments.
Yeah.
That would be a sick thing to have, because it's like, okay, you have all these old models, they're never going to be brought back. GW's never going to make them, and they have the most broken of broken rules. Let's get it. A legendary tournament, I think, brings the old heads and the new heads to see how great the old books are. And that's how you get people to play Old Hammer all the time,
I feel like in some cases that's easier said than done because of point values, the difference between 9th and 10th is huge. So there's a lot of stuff that was sort of grandfathered in from 9th, and then they put it into Legends because they basically like made a quick fix for it because they didn't know what to do with it, and then put it into Legends because they're like, okay, we just give up on knowing what to do with it. But it's like, there's just quite a few things that they don't translate over as well to 10th, and so that's I don't know, that's also part of it.
As long as they're uniformed within that legendary book, like you were talking about, as long as there's a legendary format,
well, that'd be fun.
It'd be cool to have a Legends tournament.
Just be like, hey, you can't use these for tournaments. We just got the craziest, wackiest rules we could think of. We put it into one codex. Go wild.
Yeah.
Because that'd be so much fun. Dude, I'd love to play with the old Death Company Dreadnought profile, where he had the thing where you fought him, and he got to fight you, and then he fights you, you fight him, and then he fights you again. Dude, I'd love to play with that one more time. He had the Magna Grapple. You get a +2 to charge against vehicles and monsters. I'd love to have that again.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so many other Legend stuff, bunch of Dreadnoughts.
I think those are my main two things, is like, if you have multiple floors, that needs to be fixed because
there's no incentive to go
upstairs, and
unless you already start there because of deployment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like, and because of how infantry moves, like, it's a 6-inch move. My suggestion would be, basically measure the distance vertically, and it's half of that for the movement cost. So basically, if you got to go up 6 inches, you got to go up 3 inches, you know? So that way, you know, it costs 3 inches to go up 6 inches, and that, you know, you could end up on the second story in one move, you know? Or you could end up on the first story, and then if you decide you want to move, you can get down from the first story and still have like 3 inches of movement, so you can actually like do something and not just be climbing the stairs, you know? Because it's, you only get one movement, you know, and it's like, and you can't, well, and that's the thing too, is because of how much it costs, you can't advance to get onto a second story, you know?
Yeah.
If you do advance, well, there goes your shooting or your
charge?
Or your action or your charge or your whatever, you know? So it's like, just half the cost. But make it half the cost to go up or downstairs, or just make it to where the first story is free.
I say put your wildest riders into the Crusade books. Stop making it focused about the units movements.
Make
and
the
make
Crusades
it about
broken.
Make the Crusade. I want broken Crusades.
Yes.
Because I want the most toxic players to be in my Crusades. Because
I want some wacky shit.
I need a villain. I need an arch nemesis, so I come and play 9 games.
I want to be hitting on ones.
Yeah, I want it to be messy. I want it to be like, you know, but I also want it to be.
I want some bullshit.
I want some bullshit. I want some like this building blew up.
I can take it.
You know.
I might not be able to take it.
I don't want.
Well, I'll say I can.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want. Oh, and you can deep strike 6 inches. That's not exciting for me.
It's really not.
I want. Now my ballistic dreadnought, or now my infantry can shoot across the field.
My ballistic dreadnought can shoot a guy, and it'll over-penetrate and shoot the guy behind him too.
I want a ballistic.
It's funny.
Yeah, I want a ballistic dreadnought or a rhino to have indirect fire, like that. That would be insane.
That would be pretty fun. Yes.
Like make you the GW people are smart enough, but I just feel like they're kowtowing a little bit to the Crusade. To the tournament still.
Well, and also,
they need to be their own thing.
I feel like that's also kind of the design philosophy for 10th as a whole, or at least what I've been seeing, is that my thing with 9th edition is there was almost too much customization. Like you had a detachment, you had an army ability, you had war gear, you had, you know, and it was like you had war gear, you had your weapon options. So it was like for any one unit, you had like 4 different decisions to make before you even started the game, which is like, okay, that's a bit much. And 10th edition, they simplified it and streamlined it, and I feel like it's very good for getting new players. And it's like when I was, you know, first playing, it was very, very easy to get into. I understand it. I understood the, you know, the basics very quickly, but it's like I feel like at that higher level of play, like if you really want to do some like zany shit, I feel like that's where it suffers, is that you can't have that zany shit if you also want to. It's a very difficult balancing act to have something that's easy for new people to get into, but also has some zany stuff for people who've been playing for a while, you know. Yeah. And I kind of hope we're about halfway through the year. They're probably going to come out with a new edition sometime in spring of next year. I'm hoping that's something they incorporate moving forward, is that it's like, you know, keep the bare bones for people who are just getting in, but also have something that once you've been playing for a while, and I know there's tournaments, but like tournaments are everything's standardized, and like it's fun to beat people at tournaments, but it's also like it kind of almost feels like chess, you know, where it's just this thing beats this thing, that thing beats that thing. Oh, you messed up, so blah, 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 blah. It's like, it feels like the dice aren't as big of a factor. I
think that G-Dubs would really also benefit on reevaluating the way that they consider a crusade. I don't think most people can dedicate 10 weeks to a crusade. I think that they could dedicate 2 to 3 days. If you have weekend crusades, I think that's more valid.
Kind of like one shots.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's easy to go from a 500 point, you know, game to a 2,000 point game in what, 4 rounds, 1 day,
or 500 to 1,000.
Yeah.
You get like 2 games in. One game's a 500 point game. One game's a 1,000 point game, and then you meet up on a separate day to do the 2K. That's like 3 games across 2 days,
Yeah.
however you want to space that out.
And I don't have to keep a narrative like a log book. You
Well,
know, like that's a lot to do over the span of 8 weeks. It's like I'm supposed
Yeah.
to drink 8 glasses of water a day. I got to go work out, and I also have to remember my
You're drinking
ballistic
8
dread.
You're drinking 8 glasses of water a day.
Supposedly, you're supposed to have to
Are
that
you
many.
counting the number of...
You know, I have to remember to do all these things. What
Are
my
you
boss
counting
needs me
it?
to do my
Are
job.
you counting down like... That's 1 glass of water.
That's 2 glasses of water.
3 glasses.
Yeah,
You
but
count them?
but you get what I'm saying. It's
That's
like,
like a recommendation. You
Yeah,
can just eyeball
yeah.
it. You don't have to count them.
and then if you don't remember that you did something in this crusade thing, and you know, like,
I mean, that's
people
kind
get
of...
salty that you're like, oh, you didn't write that down. It's like, dude, there's
That's
shit
kind of...
going on.
I mean, that is kind of something for like RPGs, like role-playing games as a whole, is just tabletop ones, is just remembering what happened last session. So I feel like that one's not exactly... I mean, yes, that is a crusade problem, but that's an everyone problem. So if GW doesn't find the answer for that, I'm not going to be upset, because it's like I don't know if anyone's found an answer for making it easier to remember things in between narrative games.
I think they would sell more books if they sold 1-day crusades tournament style
Or like,
than 8-week crusade books, because I buy those books. I buy those tournament or those crusade books, and I probably only ran 1 crusade.
yeah, I think like it would be cool if you could just have like something that carries over for like a max of like 3 games, because like I know there's like the whole thing like, oh, and then you can record it and then you can bring them to a following crusade, and it's like, dude, I haven't completed even 1 crusade.
Yeah.
I played like 5 games for 1 crusade across like 3 different weekends, and I was getting kind of burned out.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the boarding actions, I loved the gameplay of boarding actions, but I was getting kind of burnt out because I'm like, oh, I can't change my list for the next 10 weeks, and I'm like, ah, shit, like that's kind of a big commitment to 1 list, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like most of my games, I'm changing my list in between. Like, I usually just keep that list for the 1 day, and then I change it as soon as I go home. So it's like going and doing that, where it's like, oh, well, you have to keep the same list for 10 weeks, and it's like, I don't know about that, you know?
Yeah. That's a huge commitment.
Well, it's a time commitment. But yeah, it's also a list commitment,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I have to play this list
Yeah.
for 10 weeks, like 3 months. I have to play the same army, same list, the same, and it's all like,
And I literally never see anyone play 3,000 points.
maybe like a 2,500. I feel like you'd be able to do all the cool shit and be able to do the thing of like, look how many models I have on the board.
Yeah.
Without it also being too big to, because that is the thing, is a 2,000 point game can last like, I say it could easily last like at 4 hours. Like if it's kind of, you know, if you got a lot of stuff to do, it's like easily 4 hours. So a 3,000 point game, I could just imagine, like, it's like, even if you know your army, even if you know what you're doing, even if it's super straightforward, it's like 3,000 points, like, you could, like, 4 hours easy. For, like, 4 hours easy for a 2K, I could just imagine what it is for a 3K.
Yeah. I just don't think that you need a 3K option if honestly,
It'd be fun.
tournament play is going to be the main source of amount of points.
Apparently what they used to do is they used to have something called Epic,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically Warhammer, but the miniatures are even smaller, but you could field even larger armies, because it's like you were basically playing like this 30-man squad of Space Marines is 1 model.
It was like you were the helicopter on the news. You're like, we're watching over the top.
Yeah.
And it's going down.
I don't know. But as far as terrain, I think if they just modify how movement works, as far as like, I don't know, maybe just have something.
I think
where
let me
people
destroy
can-
the terrain.
I'll let you destroy it, like get rid of it. So that way, yeah, your benefit to cover, like no,
Yeah.
I took it away. You benefit from no cover because I destroyed your cover.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe have like where like people could suggest stuff, and it's all like, hey, this guy suggested this, and like we're putting in White Dwarf that like, hey, we've got cool, these are like our top 10 suggestions for like things you could try out at your next game.
Yeah.
I don't know, which I granted I don't have a White Dwarf subscription. I don't know if they're already doing that, then, but like, I don't know, that'd be kind of cool, like, because yeah, like the idea for the punt thing where you basically just kick people out of engagement range of you if you're like a big old knight, or like there's this other one I was thinking called like Demolition Derby. So you have tank shock, but basically if you're trying to tank shock another vehicle, you do a roll off with that vehicle, and whoever gets the higher number, they get tank shock, but there's no upper limit. So tank shock has an upper limit of 6 maximum. So whoever wins it, it can go more than 6 mortal wounds, and then whoever loses gets a regular tank shock.
Yeah.
So both people get damaged from it. But that's super cool because it's like you just have 2 vehicles ram into each other and they could potentially wipe each other out just from a charge. Like they could both die off of a charge if they're both like kind of low, and it's kind of like just like, oh my gosh, like they exploded,
Final thoughts?
I don't know if you, if there's any suggestions you guys have, but like, yeah, I just think that like maybe destandardize it a bit, Take some risks.
I think tournaments were made for standardization. Crusades were made
but
for chaos.
Not everyone's doing a tournament. Well, and that's the thing is that like I feel like there should be a space that's not a tournament and that's not a crusade where you can do some wacky shit. I don't know, come up with some fan-made stratagems, or maybe just have your terrain where you just make up a rule for a certain piece of terrain, like all this trench line, if you don't move while you're standing in that trench, you get the heavy keyword, or something while you're standing in a trench. I don't know, but yeah, it's easy to say, gee dubs, why aren't you doing anything, when it's something we could come up with ourselves as well, but I think there's more than one way to tackle that problem.
Yeah,
Anyway,
G-dubs, make it up for us.
You promised
Put it
us
right
a
back
fun
on
game.
him. Yeah.
We are not having fun.
You promised.
I think it's, at the tournaments they're saying we were promised a fair game. This game's not fair, and so they made it more fair.
Crusaders
And
are like,
then-
you promised a wacky game, and you didn't provide it.
Yeah, and the people who are playing more casually, they're all like, well, we were promised a fun game, and fair doesn't always mean fun. Like,
That's true.
they're not mutually exclusive. You can have and there's, I forget who said it, but I'll try and wrap this up, but I forget who said it, but there's this quote, and it's this guy talking about game design, and he's talking about like, if you give gamers the chance, they will optimize the fun out of something, which I'm all like, yeah, it happens, but it's been real. Yeah, this was supposed to be a 20-minute thing, and we've been yapping for like an hour, and I feel like that's a good place to call it.
How would they know?
How would they know? Yeah, we're gonna edit it. We're gonna edit it. You're gonna...
Got him.
You guys are gonna think we're so eloquent, because I'm gonna cut out all the uhs and ahs and the 30-minute tangents on...
Cut this part out.
We cut this part out. You'd never even know.
Thank you guys for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you to all one of our viewers.
Subscribe, like, share it with your mother.
Yeah. You guys better watch this, because if you don't, I'm gonna go on my other accounts and watch my own video just to make myself feel better. So